This is the man helping men understand what it is that women crave in bed.
The brain is a woman's biggest sexual organ. You can literally make a woman orgasm without even touching her, just by whispering shit in her ear.
This is Stirling Cooper.
I am a retired, award-winning adult film star, and now I'm the world's best sex coach for men.
How do you reverse the effects of porn? And then how do you better your performance in sex as well?
Get on your knees. Grab it. Put your hand here. Take it off.
I help guys just like you to transform their sex lives and make them the best lover that their woman has ever seen.
People confuse a lot of orgasm with squirting. Does squirting have to happen for orgasm?
If you're watching a porno and the word squirting is anywhere in the title, it is fake.
How much lay count is valid?
First of all, women don't care about body count as much as people say they do.
I've had women open their eyes while kissing me and just like, have you ever just, come instantly as soon as they start shooting?
The closest it ever happened to me was working with Angela.
I've seen a lot of your testimonials, a lot of videos where you talk about you can actually grow fucking penis size.
I've done it myself. I gained 1.2 inches over the course of 8 months. Women need an emotional roller coaster. They need this up and down. This is why women will stay with an abusive boyfriend. Women will open up to you with their deepest sexual fantasy if you come across as the guy who is never going to judge her for that.
Stirling, welcome to Iron Man Lifestyle.
Thank you for having me, mate.
Yeah, man, it's been fucking epic. Firstly, so you've done a lot of adult film scenes, right?
I did a few, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it was like over 300 over the course of like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, 300's cool.
To be honest, it's actually not as many as some of the super duper veterans that guys might be very familiar with.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
We're talking like thousands.
But in India, like the average body count is like 2 for
a
person.
You mentioned that.
Yeah,
yes.
I did. So firstly, enlighten me on like, after doing 300 scenes, what's ideal sex for a man according to you? Or like just an ideal sexual experience?
For like, as in, that's good for the guy, or that's good for the girl, or that's good for both?
I think for both, sort of. But then for the guy as well, since we'll have more men watching the channel.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say, okay, let's go from the angle of like the dude who's very inexperienced, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, the majority of your audience probably like haven't had a ton of experience.
Right.
I would say chill out. Don't put. You don't want to put pressure on yourself. Like, sex is a skill, just like learning to ride a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
You fell off your bicycle the first time you tried to ride it, so you're probably gonna be terrible. At sex the first time you have it, and that is totally okay, because the magic superpower that you actually do have as a guy who's very inexperienced is you have enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's the big thing you can bring to the bedroom as a guy is just enthusiasm. If you just and the ability to like, if something awkward happens, learning to just laugh it off. Yeah. That'll be a very good start as a guy who's inexperienced, like your first girlfriend or you're married, right? Yeah. Because if you're trying to get your pants off and you fall over or it's awkward, like just laughing it off.
Yeah,
is
mainly
making it better for both of you. It takes away the pressure, takes away the nerves, the anxiety. It's like if you can just laugh off silly, awkwardness,
like unhooking
like that,
the bra, like that's like, what do you call it? The canon event.
That's just that takes forever. If you don't know what you're doing, that takes forever. You're like, cool. If you've never seen a bra, you're like, how the hell this is like cracking a safe. It's so complicated. But don't those kind of things. Don't worry about it. Like she is not going to expect you to be some Don Juan Lothario in the bedroom, and you shouldn't expect yourself to be that way either. So taking that pressure off is going to help a lot of guys.
For sure. So ideally, let's say for somebody more experienced, like when I talk about like ideal sex, you have one where it's like very porn oriented, very wild, very like a Hollywood movie scene.
Right.
Like, you're going wild at it. And then there's the other one, which is like soft and sensual and you're sort of making love.
Yeah.
So which one, should people be going for?
The thing is, like, you can be sensual without being soft.
Okay.
So people have this impression of like soft, sensual sex from Hollywood movies and things like this, right? Where it's lovey-dovey, romantic, lay her on the pillow with rose petals and things like that. Yeah. It's fine to be romantic and there's a time and place for that. But understand as a man that you're going to get a much better reaction from a woman by being more dominant and by being more masculine and by not being afraid and intimidated by the female body.
Yeah.
And when I say not being afraid, I mean not being afraid. Like, women aren't these sort of super fragile, delicate flowers.
Everyone wants to believe that they are, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they don't want sex. And you're a dirty man to think like you want to have sex with a woman.
Yeah. Like, it's no woman could possibly want to be ravaged like a wild beast. No, of course not. That would not at all. Oh, that's why 50 Shades of Grey was a bestseller.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's like we could talk about the Kama Sutra for like years and
exactly,
years and years.
Exactly, right? So there's an aspect to female sexuality that wants to be taken, right? She wants to be taken by a man with balls. And when I say women aren't these delicate flowers, obviously you're not trying to, like, you never want to, like, accidentally injure a woman, hurt her, cause pain, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can show strength and dominance by being physically imposing and physically controlling over her body in a way that is very arousing to women and gets them off, but is, doesn't hurt them, doesn't put them in any danger.
Yeah.
There's a dynamic here that is very arousing for women, and I think that's where I think guys develop a lot of confidence too. Yeah. If they can tap into that, understand how to be that guy, how to be that dominant masculine lover. Yeah. Just makes you feel like you've got a gigantic pair of brass balls. So I think it's healthy for both people.
Yeah. And then maybe that, when we talk about size. So I think if we can do that, then we can stop obsessing over the size every time.
Completely. Yeah. If a guy, like, there's a lot of things you can do that have nothing to do with your penis. Yeah. That are I would probably say are arguably more important to getting your woman off. Yeah. Than just, like, where you put the dick and how long it is. The brain is a woman's biggest sexual organ. If you can tap into her mind and direct her thoughts, the way I like to think about it is, or a way to frame, like, dirty talk, for example. Imagine her brain is like a car, and you're kicking her out of the driver's seat, you're putting her in the passenger seat, and you're taking control of the wheel instead. Right. With consent. With consent. But that's what dirty talk is. Yeah. Dirty talk is guiding her brain where you want it to go, guiding her thoughts, guiding her focus where you want it to go to elicit an arousal response.
This question I'm going to ask for my viewers, and I'm going to try and play dumb this entire podcast. Like, I've never had sex and I don't know the things. So
I call bullshit.
Yeah. We'll just pretend. We'll just play pretend. I mean, you say, like, a woman wants to be taken and you want to have, like, wild sex and arousal and you want to say dirty things. So dirty talk, I mean, don't you think it'll be, like, against the modesty of a woman, because she's would like to believe she's delicate, she's nice.
So there's lots of different types of dirty talk. Yeah. Okay. So dirty talk isn't just calling a woman names, for example. Right? Oh, you're a filthy. Like, that's okay. That is a type of dirty talk I would call, like, degrading language. That is one type of dirty talk. Yeah. There's lots of different types of dirty talk. So you can have commanding and controlling language, just basically just instructing a woman what to do. Yeah. Confidently with self-belief, like, get on your knees, grab it, put your hand here, take it off. This, take it off, do this, do that, right? These are basic things. There's nothing necessarily perverted about it, right? Yeah. But it still puts a woman in this mental headspace of, oh, this guy's in control, he's taking charge, he's dominant. These are all arousing things to a woman, right? Yeah. So I classify that still as dirty talk. Yeah. Because it's all it is arousing a woman through words. Yeah. Right. So that is, like, controlling. Instruction and direction. Right. Then there's other types of dirty talk which will revolve around, let's say, the dynamic of ownership. This isn't necessarily degrading, but it's like, calling. You could start as simple and vanilla as just calling her your woman. Like, you are, like, something like, you are mine now. You're mine. You're mine. You're my girl. You're mine. Yeah. That is a bit more lovey-dovey romantic. Yeah. You could take it a bit more extreme and be like, this pussy belongs to me. That's a bit more. You see the spectrum we're playing with here? From kind of vanilla to a bit darker.
And then it keeps changing as we know her better, as we develop more chemistry.
Completely. Right. As you unlock her, like, sexual side, as you allow her to express it with you, right? And this is, I'll add something in here, that's the importance of being a non-judgmental guy in the bedroom. Women will open up to you with their deepest sexual fantasies. If you come across as the guy who is never going to judge her for that, that's a superpower. That they're like, oh, I can be his. Yeah. I'm not a. I'm his. and she will open that up to you and give you that side of her sexually that she would never give otherwise, because she's afraid you're going to judge her for being a bit kinky, a bit perverse, a bit whatever.
Yeah. I've got this one thing. So we teach men how to, go talk to girls and everything and get a girlfriend. So I've got this one thing, like when you're talking to a girl, she's judging you, and she's sort of not exactly judging you, but she's getting a feel of how sex would look like.
Right.
So if you're talking to a girl like, hi, excuse me, hello, she knows you're not going to fuck a doggy. But if you're like, hi, yo, hey, what's up? What's your name?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I love that. She knows you're going to just spank it, smash it, demolish it.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Going along that line, I think that women also will estimate how good sex is going to be with you based upon the first kiss. I think the first kiss is a really strong indicator of a man's sexual confidence, or the way he kisses a woman. Mm-hmm. Women will read into that a lot. If you're a dud kisser or a timid kisser,
like a cow.
Yeah, they'd be like, ooh, this guy's going to be a bit of a limp noodle.
Yeah, I've had women open their eyes while kissing me and just like, and I have to teach them, and it's just weird.
Again, kissing is a skill as well.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches people how to kiss. You kind of have to figure it out.
This one girl taught me. I swear, and that was like the best kissing I had. And then I started teaching women.
Right.
Because in India, it's just very different. Let's tie this to the non-judgmental thing you said. In the bedroom, if you're non-judgmental and you talk about it and she tells you all the wild fantasies, she also tells you the stuff she's done before.
Right.
And then suddenly you're like, bitch, you a slut. You're a fucking slut. How the fuck could you do that? You got no self-respect. And now suddenly in India, we've got this hashtag going on. Since a lot of male influencers have come up for men, which is like, Tate, you, we've got the Tate brothers and everyone, and I mean, it's been fucking amazing. But then a lot of things is coming up where we're talking about body count.
Right.
And in India, there's one thing which is like no seal, no deal.
Right.
So seal means the hymen. Yeah. And I have to tell people, the guys, I mean, I don't think that's a very healthy thing to go for. I feel it's very judgmental and very insecure for you to expect your woman to be a virgin. And like, if I go 10 years back, a decade back, I was that guy. I wanted my woman to be a virgin.
Right.
But when I started dating, they weren't virgins.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, fuck, how the fuck could you do that? You did that with that person. My first girlfriend told me that I think she had sex with a guy in the pool. And it was his farmhouse and his pool and his mansion, his daddy's money. Right. And my parents having no money, I'm still a virgin till like 21. I'm like, people are having so much sex. And then that fucked me up. So I had to rewire myself to not be insecure like that and be fine. Because if I'm going to have sex with people, all right, so we're expecting me to not be a virgin before marriage, but I want my woman to be a virgin before marriage. Who the fuck am I going to be having sex with?
Yeah. Obviously, it's different. Like, it's the culture in India is obviously very different from the culture in like Australia or America or whatever, right? I saw some numbers recently. Like, you were saying the average body count in India is like 1.8. Yeah. In Australia, it's like 13. Yeah. Right. That's a massive difference. Right?
Yeah. The only thing is, if you talk about Delhi and Mumbai and Bangalore, the urban cities,
then it would.
And the urban cities are places of fuck boys.
Okay.
Like my 20s was just me being a fuck boy.
Right.
Just me being a fuck boy.
Right. But in terms of guys like demanding the virgin, like I see the discourse you're talking about online. I see it on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. Yeah. Because that discourse is not just localized to India. That discourse has moved to everywhere. Yeah. The Arab world, the Western world.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no hymen, no ring, right? She's not a virgin. I'm not going to wife her up and stuff like that. Here's the thing: the same guys who say that will absolutely get with a girl with a high body count, and they'll simp for her because she's the first girl to ever touch his pee-pee. That 100% happens all the time. So for a start, I know you motherfuckers are lying. Yeah. I know you're not like adhering to your own proclaimed rules. I know you're not. Second of all, it's cool to have a standard like that.
But they're still wanking off.
Okay, yeah, probably.
To the same ones.
Yeah. But the thing is, are you the kind of guy who is worthy of a woman to meet that standard? You kind of have to look, because it's a competition when you think about it. Like that example you just gave, like, okay, that guy, at that younger age, that guy was out competing you for sexual access for women.
True.
Which is objectively true.
Yes, it was 100%.
You had to go out and improve yourself to get the access. Cool. That's the way the world works with everything. You can't, this idea of like, I mean, maybe it's a little bit different with like arranged marriage culture, maybe, but the idea that I am owed a wife, it's not really true. Like, I'm not owed anything that I don't earn. I'm not owed a roof over my head. I'm not owed food. I'm not owed a job. I have to go out and earn these things as a man. So I think you should apply that same principle to women and having a wife or a girlfriend, and then look yourself in the mirror and be like, cool, it's okay to have the standard. I'm fine with guys having the standard of I want a virgin wife. Cool. What do you have to do as a man to get that? What do you have to improve about yourself in order to get the attraction of a woman who meets those standards? Because that's the very lengthy process. It takes work. Guys who are extremely successful will definitely be able to meet those standards. But I don't think the average guy these days is going to meet those standards, especially with our cultures becoming a lot more degenerate and women's body count's going up. So, you have to be realistic about your standards.
No, true. But then with like, let's say you've done a lot and you want a virgin wife. How the fuck are you going to know if she's a virgin or not?
Bingo.
So mostly like you're simping over those girls and you're not getting them till, let's say, 25. So because you cannot get any girl till you're a certain age, till marriage, right? And you're a virgin by circumstance.
Right.
But she's got all the guys in her prime, which is, let's say, starting at 18 to like 25. But your prime would start much later in your 20s. So why would she not take advantage of that? So that's that. But then again, we come down to the discussion of how much lay count is valid. Like when does it become too much?
When is it a problem?
When is it a problem?
Yeah. I agree.
What's your personal one? When is it going to be a problem?
I agree with what you said, that you're never going to know.
You're never going to know.
Like, no woman is ever going to be 100% honest with you. And I'll tell you how I know this. Because in the early stages of dating this girl, talking to her about, like, trying to fish for, like, her body count. I'm not outright...
And you always multiply by 3.
Well, you don't necessarily... Okay. There's somewhat truth to that, and I'll explain what I mean. So, you never want to overtly ask what's your body count, because she's going to lie to you.
She's going to lie to you.
So what you want to do is you want to fish for, like... who her ex-boyfriends were, right? Okay, cool. Now I have an idea of how many relationships she's been with. It's this many, right? Okay, how many guys have you kissed? Because women will actually be kind of honest about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can kind of infer, okay, well, if she kissed like 5 guys, how many of those guys did she actually give a blowjob to? Or a hand job to?
Because they're going to be
guys will count that. Guys absolutely count that as body. We're going to count that as body, right?
Girls are going to be like, that doesn't
exactly
count. That doesn't count.
Bingo, right? So you can kind of fish for like a more accurate number. You're still never going to know the actual number, but you can kind of fish for a bit more accurate number, being a bit more subtle with it.
Yeah.
Because it also comes across as, surprise, surprise, less judgmental. So she's going to open up a bit more and be more honest with it. So there's that to it. I forget the original question you asked me.
How much is too much?
Oh, right. How much is too much?
Like for you, let's just go with you.
Yeah.
How much is too much? Like 10, 20, 30, 50?
I try to cap it around 5, like 5 or less.
You're over 300 yourself.
Yeah, but
What the fuck?
but here's the thing, and people, and I'm glad you said that, because people will be like, how can you demand such standards when you don't meet that standard yourself?
Yeah.
Men and women are different, motherfucker. I don't get invited onto yachts at 18.
Yeah.
Is that fair? No, it's not fair. Yeah. The world isn't fair. Men and women are treated differently. Yeah. So men and women have different standards. This is obvious to anyone with a pair of eyes who actually lives in the real world. But if people live incessantly online, they're like, oh, his body count's high, so hers has to be. He can't demand a well. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if it's fair. It doesn't matter what I demand or don't demand. All that matters is what I actually get, and I do get that.
True.
So suck a dick.
Yeah.
I can get that. So it doesn't matter if it's like fair or just or whatever. It's a case of what I can get out of the world, out of the reality, through my actions and through the things I've done. And the reason is because, first of all, women don't care about body count as much as people say they do. They really don't.
About men's body count?
Yeah, about men's body count at all. They really don't care. And second of all, they definitely prefer a guy to have a higher body count than them. 100%, because they perceive the guy to know what he's doing.
For me personally, I think it would be around 10, 12. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I told you about those girls, like a cow kissing like that, right?
Right.
So I do not prefer being with a girl who's a virgin, because then I got to teach everything. And I got to, like, being the first, it's like the first sexual experience is just like, too much of like, it's just not fun. Then you're going to teach how to give a blowjob, how to kiss you, how to have sex and all that. And it takes time to open up. So I would actually prefer like a girl who's not a virgin, at least had some sex, but then cap it at like, 3-5 is fine, but like on a rare occasion, depends how old she is, 7, 8, 10. Like she needs to be like fucking amazing to be with like 10 people. It's the hot crazy scale as we have it, how hot she is and how amazing she is and what the circumstances have been.
Right.
Because when a woman will get out of a relationship, she's going to be pretty going out there.
That's an indicator, I think, of a woman that's worth pursuing. Is if after every breakup, did she go into a hoe phase or did she not? Did she actually restrain herself? That's a really good sign. A woman who's like 20 with a body count of 5 is very different from a woman who's 30 with a body count of 5, right? A woman who's 30 with a body count of 5, okay, that's like 5 relationships over the course of like 12 years. Yeah. That's a woman who, like, no one would consider that woman a slut. She's just had bad she hasn't quite found the right guy. Maybe she's bad at picking guys. Maybe the relationships didn't work out, whatever the circumstances is. But that's a very different circumstance to like the 20-year-old with the same body count because she's been through them in such a short space of time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe she had one boyfriend, they broke up, and then she went crazy for a few months, So these are the number to me is never really as important as like her behavior. Because again, first of all, you're never really going to know their number. And 2, I'd much rather the girl who is like submissive to me, doesn't argue with me, follows my lead, wants to be a mother, wants to be the mother of my kids specifically. Like these are all green flags for me. So and there is a strong correlation between those really good behaviors, the green flag behaviors, and like low body counts in women. It's undeniable. When you get with women who have had high body counts, all of a sudden, like there's a very strong correlation between her talking back and being nagging and her having a high body count. It's a very strong correlation between her not being feminine and submissive and having a high body count. Oh, fuck you, cook for yourself. I'm not cleaning up. All this kind of shit.
Daddy issues.
Yeah,
trauma.
All these things they overlap so much. It's easier to like just look at the behavior as an indicator, I think.
How do you keep a woman longer? Like let's say in a relationship. This is huge. Like, I feel like we're opening a Pandora's box of troubles out here. Because you want to keep her longer, but as a man, your 20s sex drive is very different than in your 30s.
Yep.
I felt that. You felt that?
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's very different. Yeah. And we spoke about the enthusiasm you have it for the first time.
Yeah.
It was very different for me when I had it for the first time when I have it now. So like keeping her for longer or like giving her the same experience that as a 20-year-old I might give, and then now it might be a bit different. And also having the pressure to like always be like, oh no, I gotta have great sex every time, otherwise she's gonna leave me, she's gonna cheat on me. I don't think that's like, it's going to make me very anxious going into it. So let's just uncover this area. It's and you being like an adult film star and a bedroom coach of women and older than me, like shine some light on it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So I would say the first like couple of times you have sex with her kind of set the tone. Yeah. You're like how good of an experience you give her the first 2 or 3 times. That will solidify in her brain forever that you are either good in bed or average in bed. After that, you don't have to be like firing on all cylinders every single time. That's the key. You can be like, because she knows that she knows what you're capable of,
Yeah.
Then you don't have to like whip out the anaconda every time. Like you don't have to give her like the 1-2 special or whatever, like your signature finishing move every time. You can have a few sessions where it's just you're being selfish and you're getting off without getting her off.
Yeah.
And the reason this is okay as well is because it adds an element of unpredictability to the relationship and to the sex. Predictability is what kills relationships. Boredom is what kills relationships. You can do anything to a woman except bore her.
Yeah.
Right? Women need an emotional roller coaster. They need this up and down. As much as they'll say they don't need it, and I've had girlfriends tell me that they don't like that. They've heard me say this on podcasts. They're like, I'm not like that. Bitch, you're like that. Yeah. I know you're like that. Trust me.
Because you know it.
You're so you're not self-aware enough to realize that you're like that. But they need the ups and downs, and this is why women stick around with assholes. This is why and I'm not encouraging anybody to do this, but this is why women will stay with an abusive boyfriend because the emotional variance it's addicting to them. Right. The guy is an emotional slot machine for her. Look at the gambling addict. Why does the gambling addict sit at the slot machine?
Yeah.
Because intermittent reward. Because he's pulling that lever. Like he loses money, he wins something. It's when's the next hit? Doesn't know. It's the exact same emotional stimulus that women respond to in relationships. Again, I'm not saying be abusive. I'm not saying you be an asshole. But the idea is, if you don't create some kind of emotional variance or drama, shall we say, if you, the man, don't create it, she's going to create it for herself by being a dickhead, by pissing you off, by nagging, by starting drama with you. Yeah. So it's going to happen either way. There is no woman on this planet who is drama-free, no matter how autistic she is. There's no woman who's drama-free. So you might as well be the one who's steering the ship. You might as well be in control of it, because at least you know that it's kind of not real. If I'm the one who's just starting beef with her occasionally, like, and it doesn't have to be anything really mean. It's just like calling her out on like bad behavior, like put your phone away when we're having dinner. Correcting behavior, a little bit like that.
Having boundaries.
And enforcing those boundaries. Boundaries, and enforcing them, not in a dickhead way, but in a respectful way, like a man, like her father might do, right? That's not how you behave around me, baby. Don't do that again. Oh, okay. She's put in her place all of a sudden. And surprise, surprise, when women get put in their place, their pussy gets wet. This happened. This is biology. That's what they respond to. But that we're giving her these ups, and like the ups are like, you're so beautiful today, baby, I love you. Or giving her an orgasm. And the downs are, put your fucking phone away when we're having dinner.
Yeah.
Or spanking her in the bedroom. Like, we're giving her this emotional polarity, which is so fulfilling to women. Yeah. Men, dudes are fine just being happy all the time.
Yeah,
we don't care for drama.
Whipping out the belt occasional times.
Right. Giving her a spanking. But the thing with spanking is it's both a punishment and a reward at the same time. Yeah. So that gets a bit complicated, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if guys just understood that more, there would be a lot less breakups, divorces, drama, and sexless relationships.
Sexless marriages.
Definitely. There'd be a lot less of those things.
I'm pretty sure like a lot of couples, when they get older, like 40s, 50s, 60s, they stop having sex. But the love is still there.
Yeah.
Like, does sex become very important then as well? Or is it like you fall off the wagon, and why does it happen? Like,
you can definitely, they can spark that up again. And I've had plenty of clients.
Oh, you've had clients who are older? 40s,
who
50s?
are way older than that. Like 50s, 60s, who've taken some of my advice, and they come back to me, they're like, we just had some of the best sex in our 20 years of marriage. It's like their honeymoon phase again, right? All I'm doing is teaching old dogs new tricks. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm giving them a new lease on life in their sex life, especially and again, it just comes down to unpredictability. If I just give a guy a few new tools, he doesn't have to do them all the time, every time. But if he makes it unpredictable enough, if he doesn't know when he's going to pull something new out of the bag, all of a sudden he's having fun, she's excited, the healthy lust for each other is back there again, and it sparks everything in a relationship again. And more importantly, the guy is doing all, because I teach everything sexual from a frame of being a dominant masculine man in the bedroom. Oh, surprise, surprise, that's what women really want.
Yeah.
So she's now no longer nagging. She's now taking, like, she's not asking him to take trash out all the time. She's cooking and cleaning for him again. She's giving him a blowjob every now and then, just randomly. Her lust for him has been inspired because he's stepped up and become more masculine and dominant in the ways expressing his sexuality. It reinvents a marriage. I've seen this verbatim again and again and again from clients. It blows me away that such a tiny little thing, like sex, can have such a massive ripple effect in like two people's lives like that. But it really can.
Yeah. And then for this, what are some of the tools you gets people started off with? Are there some things in the porn industry that really helped you out to have just better sex?
You know what?
Secrets of them.
You know what? It was a lot of my work with kink.com, which is a BDSM website.
Okay.
Really helped to sort of like round out my understanding of the female, understanding of female sexuality, the female body, and sort of like erogenous zones and different ways to arouse women.
Tell me about,
for example, the idea of pleasure through pain, right? And that's a big part of BDSM, right? Yeah. So things like, say, spankings. You mentioned like the belt a minute ago, like spankings, floggings. I'm became quite proficient with a flogger, which is like a kind of like a whip, like a not really super dangerous, painful whip. Things like that, things like bondage, things like nipple clamps and clothes pegs, and things like all these kind of kinky little ways of delivering, shall we say, pain. You learn that actually amplifies and wakes up a woman's nervous system. So so things like that you would normally associate with pain can actually cause her to have a far greater response to pleasurable things. So it's kind of like the carrot and the stick in a way. So let's say in doggy style, incorporating things like spanking, or if you know how to use it, incorporating things like a flogger, you know how to use that correctly, you're waking up her skin, waking up her nervous system, and then that makes every single penetration or thrust 10 times more sensitive to her. It amplifies everything. That is the whole point. One of the main points of BDSM is to amplify the sensations that women feel. So I learned quite a lot from my experience doing those kind of scenes.
What are some very simple things we can utilize in the bedroom in terms of BDSM?
You could classify things like hair pulling and spanking. Those are like kind of very, very basic beginner level things. I think things like restraining a woman in a safe, consensual way, obviously. Something as simple as like pinning her hands down, but like beside her in missionary position, or keep pinning her hands behind her back in like doggy style position like this. There's a very basic beginner moves, but there's a deep like psychological element to what you're doing there. It's not even about like the physicality of what you're doing there isn't that overwhelming. It's a psychological thing. He's restraining my hands. I'm under his control now. That is submission by default. So it puts her in that submissive headspace where women truly want to be when they're in the bedroom with a guy.
Right. So that's one.
Yeah.
What else?
I will start with talking about dirty talk here, because I think dirty talk is way more powerful than people give it credit for. Woman's brain if you really know what you're doing, you can literally make a woman orgasm without even touching her, just by whispering shit in her ear. This requires, you're not necessarily going to do that like the first time. That requires like building it up and anchoring and stuff. But you can eventually get to the point where you can anchor her feeling and the sensation, the physical response of her orgasm to like trigger words. That's really deep, like NLP psychology stuff. You can get to that point. Now, getting to that point is quite challenging, but you can get halfway to that very easily. And that's as simple as when she's in an orgasmic state, when she's either having an orgasm or when she's super highly aroused, using a phrase that you would use again and again and again, like, this pussy belongs to me. Yeah. Whose pussy is this? But making her repeat shit back to you is a very big, powerful one. Yeah. Whose pussy is this, baby? Yeah. It's your pussy, daddy. What's your pussy, whatever. Yeah. Making her repeat stuff makes it like go deeper and deeper into her subconscious. Yeah. But saying whatever phrase you want, really, but saying a dirty talk phrase, a trigger phrase at like a height of her arousal, not only amplifies her arousal in that moment, but the next time you do it, it makes it even more powerful. Yeah. So you're just layering like sexual amplification upon sexual
every sexual time. Experience you have.
Every time you do it, every time it just makes it deeper and deeper into subconscious. Like this phrase and her brain will be like, this phrase when he says this, I get wet instantly. Yeah, like those two things just become instantly linked.
Like the habit.
Yeah, and that's really useful in a long-term relationship. Yeah, that keeps shit exciting and keeps shit fun. Keeps it like she's like her body is kind of under your verbal control at that point. Literally. Yeah. I don't care who you are. That is exciting sexually to both the man and the woman. 100%. It creates this really fun stuff that you can play around with. That's an entire rabbit hole you can go down. Yeah.
So let's talk about like making her orgasm, as you were saying. So what are the things important to make her orgasm? Like one is dirty talk, and the second one we spoke about.
Yeah, I think having dirty talk is a key component because it makes everything else easier. Yeah. Right? When her brain's heightened like that, everything else, any physical things you do, way, way easier. Cool?
So before even getting into the physical, you move into the mental.
If you start with the mental, everything it's like a shortcut. It's like cutting a marathon in half. Yeah. Right. It makes things so much easier. So then with the physical stuff, in terms of like penetration, if you think of sex in terms of like angles, everything becomes a lot easier to understand. So if you think of, say, like a missionary or cowgirl positions, like basic positions, think of them in terms of where is my penis like hitting
Yeah.
inside of her. Primarily, is the head of my penis hitting her G-spot? That's the real,
Right.
that's the trigger.
So G-spot is mainly the thing that we want to target while having sex.
Yeah, well, when
But
having,
there's a clitoris and
there's,
everything.
yeah, so
Bunch of
there's different ways women can orgasm, right? So a woman can have a clitoral orgasm. A woman can also have a vaginal orgasm.
Yeah.
Typically a G-spot stimulated orgasm, right? There's a couple of different ways you can have a vaginal orgasm, but the main easiest one for guys to get down pat is stimulating the G-spot. So if we can change the angle of penetration with, say, things like pillows and things, lifting her hips up, so the head of our dick's directly stimulating her G-spot, we're more likely to get her off that way.
So this is for missionary, right?
That's for example in missionary. Another example would be in cowgirl. Instead of what most people think of in terms of cowgirl position, and this is primarily from pornos, is like the girl just going up and down on the guy's dick, or like twerking on his dick or whatever. Well, if you switch that up, and instead of having an up and down motion, if you have a forwards and backwards motion of her on top of you, what you're doing then is you're slamming the head of your dick again and again into that G-spot.
G-spot.
And if you actually watch women, like if you just sit there and let a woman grind on you, she will naturally do that. She'll kind of grind that way.
Turn back, yeah.
But if you take control of her body, and women are typically smaller than the dudes they're having sex with, so she's light and you're stronger than her, you can physically manhandle her a bit. Well, you can do this, what I like to call it panning for gold, kind of like maybe like an old Western dude, like in the river, right,
like
doing that.
yeah.
You're kind of doing that, but with
We do it with rice.
yeah, exactly, right, cool. We can, that's a new phrase. We'll call it whatever you want. That, but with her hips, and you're physically moving her back and forth like that. If you do it and you can do that quite fast and forcefully.
Yeah.
If you kind of take a woman by surprise like that, if she's in a heightened arousal state, and you kind of do that out of nowhere, you can get a woman to come pretty fast. You can you can do it in like a minute or two. Like you can get her to pop real quick.
Combining it with like hair pull, spanking, dirty talk.
Yeah. You can do this, and also remember that if she's doing this back and forth in a cowgirl position, what's also happening is her clitoris is going to be grinding a bit against your pelvic area. So
The pubic bone.
Yeah, so you've got kind of two types of stimulation happening physically already. Cool. Then you can add in a third layer of dirty talk. Like if she's on top of you, pulling her in a bit and dirty talking into her ear, right? It's an extra sensation. You can pull her hair while she's doing that. It's a fourth sensation. You see how we're just layering different sensations in? Every different layer we can add in doesn't have to. You don't have to make it super complicated, but every little extra thing we can add in is going to heighten her arousal. Think of it this way: if a girl's giving you a blowjob, right, and then she adds in her hands, it's even better. And then she starts tingling your balls. It's even better. Like all these different sensations make your experience better. So it works both ways. The same thing can work on women if we just get a little bit creative with all these. That's why I look at it as like kind of like tools in a toolkit. Right? I want the hammer today, or do I want the protract? I don't know. I'm not a technician, obviously.
Like a compass and shit.
I'm not a builder. Like if I saw out, what do I get out?
Yeah.
What different tool for the job, right? And you can mix and match this endlessly to stop things being boring and predictable.
Yep.
Right? You can mix and match and play around until you find the combination that works for her the best. Unlocking her unique seed phrase.
Yeah. So people confuse a lot of orgasm with squirting. Yeah. Does squirting have to happen for orgasm? and does every woman squirt? Let's talk about squirting.
Every woman is physically capable of squirting. Everyone's capable of it.
Yeah.
If you're watching a porno and the word squirting is anywhere in the title, it is fake. That is a woman who has drank like 2 liters of water before the scene, and she is then pissing on the dude.
Fuck.
On command, because she needs it, like most of the time. Like that's typically how that works. However, there is a gland in the woman. It's called the Skene's gland. It is basically the female equivalent of the prostate. It produces a fluid that is actually very similar to seminal fluid, minus the semen. So it is an actual gland that produces a fluid. That can be stimulated but basically via G-spot stimulation. You can get that secretion. It is not necessarily the super explosive fire hydrant thing that you see in a porno, right? Yeah. It's a lot more subtle. Yeah. But squirting is absolutely a thing. And the sensation women feel, it can be different for different women. Some women, it is like, if they orgasm at all, they will squirt along with it. Other women, if you make them squirt, they will then orgasm. Like there's different. It's kind of like a spectrum of how intense that sensation is for each woman. Yeah. So it's not every woman can do it, but whether or not like the degree to how extremely pleasurable it is will vary for women. Yeah. And to do it, it's not really that hard. You just need to do this upside down,
like Spider-Man.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man. But you're inside of her.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so this is these fingers here are basically hitting the G spot like that, and you're doing it quite aggressively, and forcefully.
But then your hands get tired at times. What do you just work out?
You just gotta work it out, bro.
Go.
I can make a woman squirt with my right hand very easily. My left hand's a bit more challenging because I do it all the time with my right hand.
Can you go like right and then suddenly switch to the left? Yeah. Or you lose sensation or she loses sensation.
No, it doesn't take that much. You'll do the 10, 20 seconds. You'll get her to squirt. It doesn't take that much.
If we add in the dirty talk and everything from before, and then we move into the squirting,
I would say it's squirting is more about physical stimulation.
It's more about physical.
It's less of a mental thing because it's a physical reaction.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. But that would vary for every woman, right? It's not going to be 20 seconds for every woman.
Yeah. It'll vary for every woman.
It'll vary for every woman.
And the big part that's going to change, like how quickly it is how comfortable she is with you. It goes back to being
generally with the idea of sex.
That goes back to being non-judgmental. A lot of women will feel the sensation during sex like they need to pee.
Yeah.
Cool. A lot of the times it's not pee. It's actually this fluid produced by the Skene's gland. So, if you want to introduce this to your girlfriend or your wife, and you want to give her the freedom to experiment with this, great place to start is just do it in the shower. Turn the shower on. Yeah, both there
while standing.
Yeah, or whatever. If you've got a bathtub, lay down, do whatever. Yeah. You have the ability to play around with it there without her feeling self-conscious, worrying she's going to pee on you or whatever like that. Takes away that kind of hesitation there. Oh, cool. Now she's experienced it. It's cool. The world didn't end. Now you can move it to like the bedroom and play around with it there, and she'll feel more comfortable doing it there. And she's because it's the resistance she has. Like women will stop themselves from doing it because they think they're going to piss on you. Yeah. But if you know what you're doing and you do it like quickly without her really even realizing what you're doing, you can kind of bypass all that entirely.
Short circuit it.
Bingo.
Short circuit this shit. Have you ever just come instantly as soon as they start shooting? Like sometimes has that happened?
You know what? That's never happened to me.
Never.
The closest it ever happened to me was working with Angela White. That was the closest it ever happened. She's got something about it. She's got some kind of like magical voodoo vagina. I don't know what's up with that.
And that scene I heard her talk about in a podcast with Manuel Ferrara. That one where she starts crying at the end.
Oh yeah. I've seen bits of that. Yeah. I've seen the bit at the end.
Yeah, I saw her talking about it in a podcast where she's like, the New York Times wrote a post about that this is how porn is supposed to be. So basically, Angela White.
Women pregnant. You know what? That's actually not that uncommon. Like a woman having like a super like emotional reaction like that. Actually, I know another porn star who's had a similar thing.
Yeah.
When if she can have such an intense like orgasm, or I guess like back to back orgasms like over a sexual experience, that it just sort of breaks something and unleashes like this tidal wave of emotions through a woman. So if a woman's like crying like that after sex, obviously check in with her and see like, are you cool? Is everything all right? Probably the first question asked is, did I do something wrong? Did I hurt you in any way? Yeah. Check that first.
Yeah.
It's probably not even going to be that, bro. It's probably going to be like she just had such a good experience that like all this emotion came out.
Yeah.
So like, sex is a very emotional experience for women.
True.
Super emotional. So it's not uncommon to see those kinds of reactions.
Yeah. So how would you prep for a scene? And this is a two-part question. One, the night before, and one when you've got all these fucking cameras and 20 dudes there, and you're gonna get yourself fucking hard and go at it. How do you prep for that shit?
Right. So the night before, I would always take my boner shake, which is basically like 4 raw eggs, scoop of vanilla protein powder, and a dash of water.
Yeah.
I'd slam that in the nighttime.
Yeah.
So I'd wake up the next day with like a raging boner.
Yeah.
Try it out. It works.
Boner shake.
Boner shake. That and what I'm doing there is I'm giving my body like all the building blocks it needs to get to produce testosterone.
Yeah.
So the next day I'm like firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Like
what about things like ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha is good. Ashwagandha works.
Shilajit?
I've just started playing around with it, so I'll let you know about that later. I haven't done.
India's huge in that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't used that enough to really see any noticeable effects yet.
Yeah, you wanna see like a Himalayan resin written on it.
Yeah.
And ashwagandha usually, like, my dietitian recommends me a KSM 66 version of that. So I've never tried Shilajit, but I'm on constant ashwagandha all the time. It helps with stress as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of like herbal stuff like that it really, really does work.
Yeah.
Boner shake, cool.
Boner shake.
Like before. Also, there's a bunch. There was always like I'd always have a stack of supplements I'm taking. A lot of stuff that is either good for testosterone or good for blood flow or both, or good for my dopamine levels. There's a bunch of different stuff. I have a chemistry background actually, all things. So I kind of nerded out on this a lot.
Can you list it out?
Things I would take pretty regularly would be zinc. That's good for testosterone. It's also good for semen volume. Increasing your semen volume was pretty important in the job.
For sure.
Lecithin.
For the money shot.
Exactly. Lecithin does the exact same thing. Makes your money shot way bigger.
All right. So when I have whey protein, there's lecithin is a compound there.
Right.
Inside whey. So do you need lecithin apart from that as well as a supplement
I was supplementing with lecithin tablets.
Is it safe? Side effects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally
cool.
fine.
Yeah.
Side effect is you'll have a much bigger load. That's the side effect.
Yeah. Sign me up with like a bucket of it.
Right. that was for like the semen side of things. For blood flow side of things, stuff like pomegranate juice, stuff like beetroot juice, vitamin K2, the MK7 variant, very good for cleaning out arteries, which is good for blood flow as well. These are all things. These all tie into getting a strong,
you take that with D3
boner.
usually.
You can take that with D3 too. If you take D3, you want to take K2 because otherwise you can get, if you take vitamin D3 without K2, you can get calcium deposits in your arteries. So the K2 stops that. It stops calcium from depositing in your arteries, which causes arterial plaque. So it kind of corrects that issue.
Okay, perfect.
People don't don't understand the association between like heart health or cardiovascular health and boners, but it's the same thing. So really, if you want stronger boners, just look after your heart. So in terms of lifestyle, things like sprints. Big fan of sprints, like just
Zone 1 cardio, VO2 max.
20 meter sprints. Sprint the 20 meters, walk back, sprint again. A set of 20 a couple of times a week. It produces massive growth hormone response. You'll get jacked from it, and your cardiovascular health will be way better. You'll feel amazing. Zone 2 cardio, so like an hour or 45 minutes like on a treadmill with like a slight incline and like a slight pace to it, basically to get your heart rate at about 120 beats per minute. It'll change for everyone, like the speed and the incline. But if you can do like 45 minutes to an hour of zone 2 cardio, heart rate 120 minutes, amazing for your cardiovascular health. Amazing for it. Way better than like super high intense stuff that you see people doing in like
HIIT?
Yeah. Like I'm not necessarily against HIIT HIIT workouts, but like a lot of stuff can be.
Isn't the 20 meter sprint like HIIT?
It kind of is, but it's also kind of not. It's a bit this grey thing.
Okay, so we'll keep it simple.
In terms of cardio, like those two are going to do way more for your cardiovascular health and your body composition than like going for like a 5-mile jog.
Oh,
that kind of like just look at the bodies of people in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a sprinter's body or do you want the marathon runner's body?
Yeah, but
it's
then you want
pretty obvious.
But then you want to last longer as well.
Yeah, and that's where I think there's the zone 2 cardio can help with that. For sexual endurance, I would recommend things like kettlebell swings. Yeah, because you're mimicking the literal hip thrusting movement. Yeah. So you can do like high rep heavy kettlebell swings. That's actually something I used to do a lot of that. I used to do like I think it was 2 pud, so it was like 24 kilos, 70 reps. Pretty like almost every day I'd do like 1 or 2 sets of that. Yeah. And
for your thrusts.
For the hip, it's basically you're working your entire posterior chain.
Break the bed.
Yeah.
You ever broken a bed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you just fucking roll out of the damn thing. It's annoying. It's
once happened with me as well. I felt fucking proud. Proud of that shit. Yeah. So bonus shake the night before.
These are all things before. And then you asked about the day of.
The day, yeah.
Right. Getting out of your head is the most important thing in that scenario. Because think about it. It's like high pressure. There's a bunch of people standing around whose paycheck depends upon my ability to get a boner. That's a big thing. That adds more pressure to the situation, right? It's kind of like I used to always do the same like routine. I used to play basketball, right? And if you watch professionals shoot free throws in basketball, they always do the exact same thing. Yeah. In fact, Karl Malone used to play for the Utah Jazz. He had this famous, like, really long, like, free throws routine. He would bounce the ball, dribble the ball like 16 times, and the rumor was that he was saying the Lord's Prayer, I think, before he would take every shot. But he never told anybody what his routine was. He never, ever told, he never told anyone what he was saying, so no one could get in his head. Yeah. And so for that exact same reason, I never told anyone what my routine was, because I do the exact same thing every single day. But it was just like it was really simple. I would go to like the bathroom, brush my teeth, like fap a little bit, and then like get myself excited, think about something exciting, and then meditate. Yeah. All I wanted to do was calm down my autonomic nervous system, get out of fight or flight mode, slow my breathing down. Box breathing is really good.
4-8.
Yeah. The 4-8 thing, right?
Where can you explain?
You breathe, it's like you breathe in for like 8, hold for 4, exhale for 8, hold for 4, breathe in for 8, hold for 4. It's a box, right? 4-8, 4-8, 4.
8 in, 4, 8 out.
Yeah.
4.
That's the idea, and that's supposed to calm your nervous system down. You calm your sympathetic.
So I believe having, let's say, a Red Bull or a coffee thing is going to have the opposite effect.
Correct.
So you don't want to do that at all.
Correct. I would never drink.
Calm yourself down.
I didn't drink. I avoided caffeine before, like the morning of or the day of.
Yeah.
Completely avoided it. Yeah. Tried to meditate and tried to do box breathing.
Yeah.
Anything I do to calm, like deep belly breaths, anything to do to turn on my sympathetic nervous system and calm me down in general. Yeah. And then that's the physiological things you can do to control your brain.
Yeah, but I've got a question. But then you're calming yourself down. And you got to be turned on as well. You got to be some fucking heart pumping shit going.
Yes. So that's what you're trying to achieve is a state of calm, confident arousal. Yeah. Right. So you can because a boner is a relaxation response. When you wake up in the morning with morning wood, are you stressed out or are you relaxed?
I'm relaxed.
You're calm. Your body's the muscles in your body, everything's relaxed, everything's calm. You're not stressed out. And you wake up with a raging erection. That's morning wood. It's a relaxation response. Yeah. You don't need to get all psyched up and hyped up to engage in sex. Mm-hmm. It's better for you to be in this calm, confident state and old boy rises to the occasion. Yeah. You can be turned on without being anxious and fired up.
Yeah. What do you think about rubbing one out before your scene? Maybe the night before or the day before?
I never did that because I would rather be high sex drive than low.
Yeah.
Right? It's better for me, in my particular circumstance, the worse scenario was not being excited enough than being too excited. Yeah. Because I can always pull out and say cut. To calm down again, right? If I was getting too close, I could always just pull out and stop for a second.
Yeah, like edging.
Yeah. That's way easier to do than I'm not turned on at all because I jerked off 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Right? For guys who do have like a premature ejaculation problem, that can absolutely help.
Yeah. I had a friend do that. He used to do that all the time.
Right.
And then that would help him. And this one time, him and I pulled 2 girls from the club, and this is Delhi. All right, so I've painted a picture for you. Like, I come from a place where it's very shy, but bro, like I'm a dating coach teaching guys how to meet girls in India. So I've had my fair share of like 10 years of this shit. Right. And everything that happens in the West, it's been done in India. Right. And that's when I was like, fucking, let's do it. So we pulled 2 girls home, and then I was in one room, he was in the other room. And then suddenly, in a minute, he tells the girl, "Oh, let's go for a walk." So he came in his pants, and the girl's like, "Oh, he's making me wait." So he played it as if like you wait for it, and he got to chase.
That's clever.
And then after an hour, he got started.
That is incredibly clever.
Yeah. But like, it's all a frame and playfulness, as you say, right? Yeah. But then I've heard you talk so much about the negative side of porn and the negative side of masturbation as well. Yep. And then, but sometimes it might be helpful, like in the case that we just pointed out right now. So,
yeah, I mean, you can fap without porn.
You can fap without porn. So, what's your take on it? Like, fapping without porn is cool, or no fap at all, or like porn is like it needs to be there.
I'm not gonna. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna say don't consume porn. Quit.
Also, can Brazzers and King.com like sue you? You're like fucking
no.
Fucking up their businesses everywhere.
I unfortunately even like I could spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
going on podcasts saying don't consume porn,
Yeah.
I would be a drop in the ocean
Yeah.
of the amount of people who are
Yeah.
consuming this content,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But why aren't we supposed to consume porn?
For a start, it screws up with your dopamine receptors. So you'll notice that guys who have a habitual porn problem, like porn use, they have erection problems, they have performance anxiety problems, they have delayed ejaculation problems, they have arousal problems in general, they have motivation problems in their real life. They don't really. If a dude is habitually consuming porn, he will struggle with motivation. This is because it is bombarding your brain with dopamine stimulus, and you need a greater and greater stimulus to produce the same response each time.
Yeah.
So your dopamine receptors are getting dulled and dulled and dulled and less sensitive. Which is also why, like, dopamine is the reward chemical. You get dopamine for pursuing goals and things like that. So so surprise, your motivation drops when you jerk off heaps. Like, especially to porn, because all this visual stimulus is like crack cocaine in your brain. And, like, it lights up very similar pathways to heroin in your brain, unfortunately. So it is incredibly addictive habit. I mean, technically addictions are like substances, so there's a technicality there, but
I get it.
For all intents and purposes, it's an addiction. And guys pursue this stuff too much. So that's one of many reasons why I would say don't consume it. I don't think it's a good thing for society on a societal level for everyone. Just look at where we've ended up. Like, I think most people would agree that we're living in a society now, especially in the West, right? Maybe it's not the same in India, but where I'm from, which is a lot more degenerate. There's less families. We're not having kids. Drag queen story hour, shit like this. Like, these are all downstream effects of normalizing porn and degeneracy.
Yeah.
And I contributed to that. And I have to live with that. And I came to the conclusion 4 years ago. I'm like, I don't want to participate in this anymore. I don't want to contribute to this anymore. In fact, I would like to try and help to reverse some of the damage that I did. Hence what I do now. So that's the why of the not porn stuff. The fapping side of things, right? You can fap without porn. There's people who've been doing that for millennia. Okay, we didn't, we jerked off as cavemen. So you can do that. It's called using your imagination. Like, if you know a pretty girl, just think about her. And then voila. In fact, that's actually better for you, because you're going to learn. You actually learn to turn yourself on mentally, which will help with performance.
Also this thing with a girl, like, let's say you dream about one girl, and she's like, in game we've got this thing called one-itis, right? You dream of this girl, and you've got a crush on her for like years and years, and you're like, and I've had a friend so this was like back in school when we were kids, around like 18 and 17, and my friends had started having girlfriends. So I was like, bro, have you had sex with her? And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? I don't look at her that way. Behave yourself. And he gets really offended. And that's very fucked. So when you obsess over a girl so much, and you're just thinking of her as like a goddess, and like she's not a sexual being, it might just be helpful where you think of her a bit sexually and you just rub one out thinking about her. Yeah. And then because, you make it real for yourself in your mind that if I'm with her, I'm going to have sex with her. And I'm going to blow her brains out. Versus you being all timid and shy about it. So that really helped out.
Yeah. And I think
immensely.
It's not a healthy attitude, I think, to look at anyone like as a perfect being, to put any human on a pedestal like that.
Yeah.
Be it a girl or be it like a celebrity or anyone else. Humans are fallible. No one's perfect. Like, if you treat women like human beings, magically they respect you more. If you stop putting them on a goddamn pedestal like that and think they're perfect and sugar and spice and all things nice, if you see them for what they really are, they actually have flaws just like men do. There's a light side and a dark side to women just like men have. Cool. Now we can approach and engage with women on a human level, which will elicit a much more a greater level of respect from women themselves. Women don't like being put on a pedestal like that. They find it creepy.
So how do you reverse the effects of porn? One. And then let's move into more of all the issues around sex that happens. And is it linked to porn? Let's say performance anxiety, and you have erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation and everything. You mentioned a bit of it. And so how do you reverse the effects of porn? And then let's move into how do you better your performance in sex as well?
Yeah, I mean, How do you reverse the effects of porn? You stop consuming it, right?
Just that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's all tied because it's basically the main problem with consuming porn is as it translates into the bedroom is the dopamine issue I talked about a minute ago.
Yeah.
So you really want to go on what's called a dopamine detox. So that would involve cutting out porn. That would involve also cutting out things if you want. You can take it like as far as you want to go, really, but it could also involve cutting out things like sugar.
Yeah.
Cutting out things like alcohol, cutting out if you do any
Yeah.
recreational drugs. I consider cutting those out too.
Yeah.
Cutting out obsessive, like habitual mobile phone usage.
Yeah.
Incessant scrolling on social media.
Yeah, like in the middle of a podcast.
I know you're checking your notes.
Yeah. I'm just taking
but
notes.
that is. But all those these are the thing. All of those things have in common. All these vices have in common is they all are their like cheap dopamine. Quick dopamine fixes, which reduce our dopamine sensitivity, which screw up our motivation, screw up all manner of things in our life, especially as a guy, right? Like, why don't men build great things anymore? Why don't men, accomplish great feats of achievement anymore?
Yeah.
Because they're sitting there on their fucking phone all day, and they don't have any motivation. Like, we need to, if we can go on a dopamine detox and you can completely rewire your brain in like 3 to 4 weeks, man. Like, if you can get this shit out of your lifestyle, you will be a different guy.
Yeah, but then again, there's that part of I've seen when your lifestyle. You travel around, you stay in Marbella, Sunnyside, chilling, going on podcasts, having fun. I mean, that was what I imagined when I started doing this. But now
it's not all that.
Yeah, but now I'm like a fucking CEO of the company. Like, we've got a team of 20 people back home.
Right.
So now I've noticed, like, when I'm more stressed, when I'm at work, I don't feel like having sex anymore. Like, the sex drive goes down. Versus when I'm traveling. If I'm traveling, I'm thinking about sex more. My sex drive is higher. If I'm in nature, that's better. If I'm going to the gym, that's better. If I'm meditating, that's better. So for people leading those busy lifestyles as well, even if you reverse the things of porn, but then there's stress coming up, there's a bunch of those things.
Well, that means you have to handle the stress better. I mean, you just described it perfectly. It's the stress response.
I just have to fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, every guy reacts the same way to stress.
Yeah.
So the key is to have better stress tolerance. If there's one thing I've seen amongst all super successful guys, it's their ability to tolerate stress to a high degree. That's really what discerns the winners from the losers. Yeah, like the guy who's going to give up after like the first try with like say pickup, going out and approaching girls. The guy who's like, oh, she rejected me and he quits. Yeah, his tolerance for stress is very, very minimal versus the guy who just consistently hits it again and again and again and eventually gets better. His tolerance for stress is much, much higher. He's going to have a lot more success. Yeah, that is one of the biggest defining factors amongst success amongst men is just their ability to tolerate stress. You just described a bunch of them: hitting the gym, getting out in nature, getting in the sun, reading, getting off social media, like time by yourself, like meditative time. Is a way of thinking about it, right? I personally love to go on long walks by myself. That is really de-stressful for me. Yeah. Some guys like to hit the gym. Some guys like to spar, or do roll in MMA. Yeah. Right.
I'm starting
whatever
boxing.
it is. Boxing's great because it
it.
forces you to be present and out of your head. Yeah, it's fantastic
completely.
For you, right? You might not think of it as a stress relieving activity, but it kind of is.
Then you're getting punched in the fucking face
repeatedly. Once you start punching other people, it is stress relieving. But it has other benefits. It's competitive. It's good for cardiovascular health. It's competitive, so your testosterone is going to get jacked up. Like, I don't know a single person who either habitually trains combat sports or was a professional fighter with a low sex drive. Yeah. They've all got high sex drives.
Yeah. So we just spoke about all this stuff, like stress and everything helps. Dopamine detox helps. Just two major problems if we were to tackle. What have you found the solutions to? Premature ejaculation and just erectile dysfunction.
Cool. Erectile dysfunction is interesting because there's the physical component, like the blood flow component, shall we say, right? Right. That is actually erectile dysfunction. But then there's the other problem, which people call erectile dysfunction, but it's actually anxiety, performance anxiety specifically. It's their nerves, it's their mind, right? They're anxious in that situation, right? Like trying to get a boner in a room filled with cameras and lights and right. That's anxiety, right? And erectile dysfunction side is super easy to fix. It's like eat better food, don't eat trash, get better nitric oxide production through things like pomegranate, through things like beetroot, sprinting in your lifestyle, get zone 2 cardio in your lifestyle. Both things are fucking amazing for your cardiovascular health. Get out in the sun too. Vitamin D deficiency is attributed to heart disease and things like this. So make sure you get plenty of vitamin D.
Yeah.
Very, very simple lifestyle habits you can use to clear out your arteries. Vitamin K2, the MK7 variant, very good for clearing out arteries as well. All these things combined, either through diet or supplementation, very, very good for clearing it out. I actually have my supplement brand, Clubhouse Supplements, literally has a boner supplement called Wood that does exactly that. Why I designed it.
Yeah.
So that's that side of things. The other side of things is the performance anxiety side of things. And it's mental. So there's two ways of tackling that. One, through habits that calm your brain down, improve your stress tolerance, and help you to disassociate from like the situation you're in, like as in be present, not be up here, right? And that's things like meditation, things like, I think boxing or sparring is actually a good way of training that. Trains you to be present and not be in your head. Yeah. I think that's fantastic. Things like ice baths, great for stress tolerance and like you don't really think when you're doing like an ice bath, right? Yeah. Sauna is another really good one. I think sauna is really good for that too. De-stresses you, calms you down, all this sort of stuff. That's like habits, physical side of things. The mental side of things with performance anxiety, with an anxiety-induced boner problem. Okay, there's a few things chemically we can do. If we can increase, like we want to reduce things like cortisol, adrenaline in your body.
You want to reduce adrenaline?
Yeah, because those are the things that get you anxious and nervous.
But they get you excited as well.
Adrenaline is what is like a fight or flight kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not I want to fuck something. Chemical, right? Because you think about it, if me and my missus are in the jungle, we're about to get freaky with it, and I see a snake, am I going to have a problem getting a boner? Probably, right? Because my adrenaline just jacked up. Yeah, because I'm putting myself in fight or flight. It's not fight, flight, or fuck. It's fight or flight.
It's fight or flight.
It's not. The fuck isn't. The third option is never there, right? So your body doesn't give that option. It's true. Like the blood is going elsewhere.
It's like you're going to die, so do you want to fuck?
Yeah. The blood's going to our legs or our brain to get the fuck out of there. It's not going to the boner to like impregnate a woman quickly before we die. Our body didn't evolve that, right?
Too bad.
Too bad. Right? So you want to get out of that fight or flight response. Yeah. So we're reducing things like cortisol, reducing things like adrenaline. Again, all these lifestyle factors contribute to that. But one of the big things you can do is to increase your GABA levels, because GABA is the primary calming neurotransmitter in your brain.
How do you spell that, GABA?
GABA is an abbreviation. Okay. It's a longer name I can't pronounce.
I'll put it down.
Yeah. But if you increase the amount of GABA in your body, you actually conversely reduce the adrenaline and cortisol. And another one is glutamate. There's an inverse relationship between GABA and glutamate in your brain. And glutamate is another excitatory neurotransmitter, which makes you anxious.
How do you spell that?
Glutamate. Glutamate, yeah.
Mate.
Yeah. M-A-T-E.
M-A-T-E, yeah. That's confusing with glutamine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, fun thing, you might have never heard of glutamate before, but you actually have. MSG, the flavor enhancer, is monosodium glutamate. If you consume anything packaged, processed, anything from fast food, damn near anything from a restaurant, anything that comes out of a packet, you are consuming MSG, which means you're consuming glutamate, which means your body has a bunch of this neurotransmitter in it already. So if you want to help reduce anxiety-based erectile dysfunction, you should probably cut back on all this processed crap. Yeah. Because if you have high glutamate, your body is naturally going to be in this more anxious, nervous state. Yeah. By default, your stress tolerance is going to be much, much lower. So cutting that shit out can help to reset the balance in your brain. Make you more calm in general.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So that was the bonus side of things.
The
other side, what was the other question was about premature ejaculation.
Premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction. You were covering
that was erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Covered. Yeah. If you have a problem now, you're an idiot. You didn't listen.
Yeah, you didn't listen. Yeah. Unless it's some medical shit, maybe then the doctor would help you out.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, didn't see a doctor.
Yeah, didn't see a doctor, probably.
Probably. Yeah. Premature ejaculation. So, again, there's kind of two sides to it. There's a chemical, like brain chemistry side of things, and then there's a physical side of things. The physical side of things, again, not that hard to deal with. Reverse Kegels are the simplest, probably the most effective exercise you can do to help your pelvic floor, which is the region that kind of holds all your fun bits there. Yeah. All the muscles around that, between like your balls and your anus. Yeah. The
perineum area, right?
The what, sorry?
The perineum.
The perineum, yes.
The perineum,
That
yeah.
whole area is where all
area.
your PC muscle, your BC muscle, all these pelvic floor muscles
Yeah.
are sitting there. If they're too like tight all the time, when you orgasm, those muscles are what flexes and contracts. So if those muscles are already always tight, you're kind of in a pre-orgasmic state already by default. So if you can relax those muscles through an exercise called a reverse Kegel, you can help to gain more control down there. And a reverse Kegel here's the easiest way to do it. When you go for a pee, when you go take a piss, try to push the piss out as fast as you can. Like you're trying to imagine there's a fly in the bowl and you're trying to hit him and drown him, right? Pushing it out as fast as possibly can is that sensation that will relax those muscles. It's a reverse Kegel. Figure out how that sensation feels and deliberately do 10 sets, like 10 reps of 2 sets of 10 reps or whatever a day
Every day.
Or the easier way to do it is just when you go for a piss, just practice pushing it out
Every time.
Oh, once a day. Do that in the mornings.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning. Like just do that every day.
Yeah.
Don't do it every time you go to pee, but do that once a day. Bang. You are training that muscle to be a lot more relaxed.
Right.
The mental side, the brain chemistry side of premature ejaculation, again, is very, very similar to what we just talked about with performance anxiety, because it's, again, your brain is if you bust too quickly, you're too excited. You're overexcited. You've got too much adrenaline, too much cortisol, too much of these excitatory chemicals. So again, a very, very similar process. Reduce adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, bring these things down.
Yeah.
And then we're not going to be as on edge all the time.
Every time.
Yeah.
True. So exercises. One is you've spoken about reverse Kegels. 2 more you can recommend.
Not for premature ejaculation. Again, any and all pelvic floor exercises are good. Like the pelvic floor bridges are good and regular Kegels are good. You just want to make sure you're balancing by doing more of the reverse Kegel stuff to relax than doing of the regular Kegel side of things to kind of tighten them, right? Because we're trying to make it's good to have a balanced pelvic floor. We don't want it too tight or too relaxed. We want it balanced. So we're going to
Could you explain the Kegels?
Yeah. So a regular Kegel is the kind of opposite. If you're going for a piss, that clench you do when you stop your pee mid-flow, that is a Kegel.
Yeah.
Right? So you can still do. I could do one right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Another podcast.
While I'm sitting here, you can do them whenever. You can just do them. You can do them sitting down at your desk, right?
Yeah.
But they're more powerful if you hold them. Like you clench and you hold it for a few seconds. That's more powerful than just doing a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But again, you want to do some of those, not too many of those. You want to focus more on the reverse ones. But if you do both, you can have a kind of healthy, balanced pelvic floor where you'll have a lot more control over things that way. So,
pelvic floor is going to be really important.
Yeah, pelvic floor is like the basis for your penile functionality downstairs.
So how much does size matter? Like the biggest insecurity for men. And what's like the average size?
I think globally the average size is probably 5 inches. I think that's the global
Can you work
statistic.
with 5 inches? Or
Yeah, totally.
5 is fine.
There's dudes who there's veterans of the porn industry with 5-inch penises. I think one of the big ones was I think the guy's name was George Uhl. He was a Hungarian guy, UHL. Yeah, if anyone wants to call bullshit my claim I just made, that dude had like a 20-year career.
He's a 5-inch dick.
He's like a veteran. Yeah,
right.
So it's totally and consider the fact that he had not only has he got an average, statistically average penis, he has to contort it at angles and stuff to so the camera can see. So he had to work twice as hard as a dude with a long dick. It's kind of irrelevant, but
to show the camera.
Bingo for the camera to see. Sex in a porno is actually really uncomfortable and boring because you're not having sex for pleasure. You're having sex for the camera to see shit.
Yeah.
So
Unless
you're turning and twisting and
unless it's Angela White.
Unless it's Angela White. Yeah, and then it's holy shit, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a million and one things you can do besides using your penis that in addition to using your penis that help to have an amazing sexual experience.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it's a large part of it is mental. It's if you can get a woman in a submissive and aroused mental state first, it does half the work for you.
Yeah.
Before you even go down the path of angles and stuff. But that is another big reason why those sort of angle of penetration tips we gave before,
the pillows and stuff.
Yeah, that's why that's so important, because that will that basically for the woman, it feels like your dick just grew 2 inches because now it's the angle, it's hitting the spot, it's hitting deeper and more direct
Yeah.
on the sweet spot she likes to have stimulated.
Yeah.
So you're just biohacking like through sexual geometry. You're hacking like her sensation
Yeah.
of your penis. So there's a million things you can do to change that. It's not the be all and end all. It's although I do teach guys how to like increase their size and stuff.
Yeah.
The point of that is that so you can have control over it, like so you don't feel so bloody helpless. So you don't feel like I am stuck with this forever. Well, no, you can if you want to change it, you can. You don't have to. You don't have to. It doesn't actually. Like no one actually gives a shit. Like okay, maybe there's some size queens out there, but they're sluts anyway. So why the fuck do you care about them anyway?
Yeah.
It's a very self-imposed problem
Prison.
on guys. Yeah, it's a mental prison guys put themselves in. But once you realize that there's all these other skill sets you can add in the bedroom into sex, that you can be like you can have an average or a below average size penis, and you can you can absolutely rock a woman's world in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter anymore. And I think that's why it's important for guys to learn sexual skills, especially if they're insecure about that. True. Because it not only will get rid of that insecurity, it'll build confidence, genuine confidence for them.
Yeah.
Because they know, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
I can do all this stuff to her.
True. And I've seen a lot of your testimonials, a lot of videos where you talk about you can actually grow fucking penis size, right? So I had a doctor back in India, a sex doctor, and we did a podcast, and I asked him about size, like, can you increase it? He's like, there is no fucking way possible in your life that you can ever increase it. Yeah. So I want to know your perspective.
I say, well, a doctor has to say that for a start because otherwise he doesn't want to get sued. Right? A doctor doesn't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Two, maybe not necessarily this doctor, but there are.
But then at the same time, when you say it, you could get sued or like because you can't get sued, can you say it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I tell guys, look, it's like I make it very, very fucking clear. Like, this is not medical advice.
Okay.
You can fuck yourself up doing this if you do it wrong, if you do it too aggressively, if you're a dumbass about it.
Yeah.
If you're a dumbass in general, you shouldn't be going down this path, right? Because you're going to hurt yourself, or you're going to cause some problems, right? I've done it myself. I document proof of it.
Okay.
On my website.
Yeah.
I've got clients who've done it.
How much size were you before?
I gained 1.2 inches in length and about a third of an inch in girth over the course of 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
All right.
I was pretty obsessed with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I did it.
Were you insecure as well?
I did it at the very, very beginning of my porno career. So I wasn't insecure about it. But I did my first ever porno and then I watched it and I'm like, shit, my dick looks small. But prior to that, I'd had women telling me my dick was great.
Yeah.
But I was like, it wasn't like a sexual performance thing. It was like a fuck. This is a career path I'm going down. I should probably do something to make my performance look better.
Yeah.
So it was like I just obsessed over it, got super autistic about it, found everything I could possibly find on the topic, and then just tried everything out and found what worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of the path I went down.
Yeah. Did you order some pills off of websites where it's like
I did not order any of those pills. I definitely didn't do that because those things are full of shit. If you think a magical pill is going to cause your dick to grow, you're a retard.
Yeah, I used to have a friend who used to sell those on the porn website.
Right.
Scam.
They're a complete scam.
Yeah.
They make a ton of money. They're a complete scam.
Complete money. And then you've got the wheel where you spin the wheel and then it stops at a 30% discount every time or a 50% discount.
I've never seen that.
And you buy 3. So he's like, yo, bro, we use all these marketing things and it's all scams. Sometimes they don't even ship the pills.
Oh my God.
They just take the money. So wild.
Mate, that's the dark side of the internet I don't like.
So what did you stumble upon?
Yeah, I mean the two main there's a bunch of different techniques. There's physical exercises you can do, manual stretching exercises you can do. There's a few different devices you can use. I used a hanger, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. You hang a light weight off your penis safely. There's a couple of companies that do that, Zayn Hanger and Bib Hanger. That you probably need like 10 minutes a day maximum hanging. You very, very slowly raise the weight like literally every week or 2 weeks you add a little bit more weight. Within 2 to 3 months you will actually see some pretty significant gains on like stretching the ligaments that keep everything attached to your pelvic area. That's probably the fastest, least work.
So basically you're stretching the ligaments and like you're trying to hang something. Is it possible like your dick is going to come out, it's inside, it's trying to fuck me?
Yeah, so like if you went to somebody in the street and you said, "Can you grow your neck?" They're probably going to look at you like a weirdo and be like, "No, of course you can't grow your neck." But we have documented evidence of like these tribes. I think they're either in Myanmar or in Africa or somewhere where these women put like these rings on their necks from the age of 16 and they end up with these like giraffe necks. So it's obviously possible. And
then earlier we used to have those corsets as well, where you make your waist tiny.
And in China they have they wear those shoes that make women's feet smaller.
Oh yeah, like that.
Right. So body modification is a thing. It is possible. It's a thing. Right. Now, it's not those examples are not exactly the same as what's going on with penis growth, right? But dudes have been trying this stuff for decades. Like they've been experimenting with this stuff for a while to kind of find the few things that do actually work. None of them are like magic pills. None of them are overnight fixes. They do take a lot of obsession and like consistency with them and patience, because otherwise, it's not a situation where like more and like harder and stronger is better. That's more likely to cause damage and hurt you. You have to be really patient with it, really cautious with it, to act and persistent to actually see gains. And so weight hanging is one example of things like this. Zen Hanger, Bib Hanger, these are two companies that make a hanger that's safe. The other thing is pumping, and that's done through like a vacuum pump or a water pump. Things like Bathmate is a great example. It's a water pump. Very, very safe. Also, added side benefit is that it helps improve your like blood flow down there. So you're going to get stronger, more reliable erections too, as well as increasing the girth and the length over time as well. And that only takes like 10 minutes in the shower in the morning to do that, and it's super easy.
So you use a pump 10 minutes in the shower in the morning, and then how much time is that going to take when we see results?
Well, it took me, again, I was patient with it. It took me 8 months to get like a third of an inch in the girth gains using the pump style stuff. So it takes time. Like, you're not going to expect to see anything in, like, you want to aim for like a year minimum, I would say. Because otherwise, like, if you're like, oh, I'm going to, and here's the other thing, if you try the size of your dick when you're measuring it, if you're measuring it like every day, you're probably going to have pretty inconsistent results, because it depends upon how aroused you are, if you're getting an erection, like what you ate that day, like what your diet was like, what your blood flow was like that day. So it's going to be a bit inconsistent. Like if you're trying to measure it like day by day by day, you're probably going to get discouraged and disheartened. So I actually don't recommend measuring it every single day. I would say, like, look, if you're going to go down this path and be obsessive about it, be obsessive with the routine and the exercising, and not so obsessed with the measurement that you might discourage yourself, because you're going to be too impatient. Yeah, I would say every 3 months, do a measurement. Every 2 months. Yeah. Bang, bang, and space it and say, I'm going to do this for a year. Commit to it for a year, because otherwise you're going to be. I think the average guy will be too impatient and disheartened in it that he won't commit long enough to actually see the thing through. Yeah. That's been my experience instead of coaching guys through this stuff. Yeah.
But with the case of hanging, you could do a lot of damage as well, don't you think?
If you do too much weight too quickly, yes. You need your body to you kind of have to trick your body in a way to respond to it. So you need to start off light. If you start off heavy, you're going to hurt yourself. You just start off very, very light and then incrementally add that weight. Yeah. So your body has to react to that new stimulus slowly over time and adjust to it and basically adjust accordingly. If you stack the weight too much, and if you stack the weight on and you wear it for too long, you don't need like hours of hanging. You don't need like 10 minutes a day max. 10, 20 minutes a day max is plenty to see the results if you stick with it consistently.
Yeah. So you just hang and stand or like just sit on like a chair.
You could just sit on the edge of your chair, wear very, very loose like gym shorts or like a loose tracksuit pants or something like that. That can hang down the side of your leg, and you'll be fine with it. Yeah, it obviously helps if you work from home. It's very, very easy to do. Yeah, right. But it's only 10 minutes a day, so you can do it. You can do it in the morning, you can do it in the evening after work, whatever. But it's not a very time intensive thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It's been a pretty pleasurable conversation. It's very interesting, bro.
Good.
Like I've been meeting very different people, learning different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
All right, man.
Thank you.
This and yes, if we were to find out some of your supplements and some of the things that you say, we've got your channel, Stirling Cooper, on YouTube and Instagram. Yep. But anywhere where those supplements and everything we can find.
If you go to stirlingcooper.com, you'll find everything. Okay. Links to all my ebooks, my video courses, links to my supplements, my free newsletter, all that stuff. Basically, stirlingcooper.com is the one-stop resource for anything me. If my socials if I get something nuked and my socials happen to change, you'll know there.
So. Cool. I'm going to link it down below in the video, and then probably I'll add a discount coupon as well.
Yes.
If we can hook it up. Easy. Yeah. So that was fucking amazing, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. let's go. Thank you for doing this. Pleasurable conversation.
Cheers.